Yes, here we are, gather round. Season number 2, it's a manufacturer's season. Drivers have to drive the same Group 3 and 4 cars from the same manufacturer all season long. There you see everybody's choices. We're lining up in Group 4 for Blue Moon Speedway, Infield A Reverse. Norm, Jonesy, Contagious and Gnarly taking the first 4 spots on the grid from qualifying. So Season 2, Race 1 is 24 laps. We're going to see a 1 or a 2-stop strategy, we think. And we're off and racing. Lisa Norm takes us away. Contagious straight through the middle. Gnarly gaining ground as well. Both Mustangs very quick off the line. Contagious is the first one to turn 1. Norm's going to come through and turn in second. 4 wide around turn 1 for the first time of asking. Jonesy snuck up on the inside line. Here we are approaching the pinch point for the first time. Hold your breath. Everybody comes through 2 by 2. Norm loses his back end in the Lambo as they approach turn 3 for the first time. Contagious staying out of the mayhem behind him. Zambe and Gnarly go side by side. Gnarly's got the outside line into the hairpin of turn 4. Norm's in 4th. Slayer holding up the rest of the pack in 5th as the cork in the bottle, as they all file into a straight line for the most part through the middle sector of lap 1. Zambe caught in between Gnarly and Norm. Jonesy runs wide, that lets Con through. Wiso gets his run absolutely wrong as well, loses all traction. Coming around at the end of lap 1, it's Contagious, Gnarly, Zambe, Norm. Norm goes side by side with Zambe into the start-finish. And the power of the Lamborghini, just a little bit too much for the Mustang. As they approach turn 1 for the second time, Norm's got the inside line. Takes the position from Zambe. Gnarly chasing Contagious. Contagious shuts the door on any potential move from Gnarly, the endurance champion at the time that this was filmed. Norm, the Season 1 champion and sprint champion at the time this was filmed as well. So a very fast front 3. Slayer Freak closing the gap, putting a bit of space on Con. Zambe caught in no man's land between everybody as we come through the middle sector of lap number 2 of 24. Around about 34 minute race. We're going to show about 10 minutes worth of the race and then move on to race number 3. Race 2 was lost in the Shadow Realm as Gnarly makes the move up the inside of the final turn. Contagious with the switchback. They go side by side into the start-finish. Who's going to come out on top? Norm appears behind both of them. No room in the middle. Contagious says, get over into your lane. As they're 3 wide at the start of lap 3 now. Norm's come past both of them with the slipstream and is the first car to the apex of turn 1. Gnarly behind Contagious. They all come around now. Look at that, all 3 of them close together. Contagious looks for the lunge. Gnarly. Norm shuts the door. Inside line for Contagious. Gnarly looks for the switchback. Contagious keeps the inside line tight. Slow exit. Gnarly peeks out. Is he going to get the move done in the middle straight? He tucks back in. Norm's starting to get away from these two as they battle each other. Contagious and Gnarly battling around the final turn of lap 3. Both choosing to drive for Ford this season. Now Gnarly's going to have the slipstream. As we flip through the rest of the pack to see where everybody's at. Con's in 7th. Kez is in 8th. Wiso in 9th. Beto in 10th. Rick in 11th. But what's going on between Gnarly and Contagious? Gnarly's got the slipstream in the inside line into turn 2. A little bit of contact there. But Gnarly comes through and pulls away over the next lap or so. So this is lap 7. Contagious has made a mistake and invited Zambe, Jonesy and Con all together. So a battle pack of 3rd through 6th on lap 7. All driving together behind Contagious. Let's see how this plays out. Zambe looking for any potential mistake from Contagious in front of him. Jonesy and Con follow around. Contagious runs wide, so does Jonesy. He follows him. Contagious rejoins, but Zambe's got the momentum to come around the outside. Slow exit from that turn as they enter the final turn of lap 7. Contagious up the inside. Zambe's going to try the long run around. Shuts the door. Contagious is in the slipstream, and so is Con and Jonesy. Zambe dives down to the inside lane. Makes the slipstream a little bit harder to follow. But Contagious well and truly tucked in. All three Mustangs, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5. Look how close that is, bumper to bumper around turn 1. Contagious, is he going to make the move? Con lunges, Contagious has nowhere to go. Contagious and Zambe run wide. Con the big winner. Potential contact, potential penalty being awarded. Jonesy with a cutback on Con. Con with a slow exit invites Zambe back alongside him. And Contagious is going to close the gap as well as they hit turn 4. Con gets there first before Zambe. Running down the middle straight of lap number 8. Now lap 9. Contagious has served a pit stop, and Zambe creeping up behind Con and Jonesy. Jonesy makes a mistake and lets Con through. Zambe's going to look for the cutback on turn 4. Wider entry, wider exit, slower. Con and Jonesy will get away as they approach the left-hand flick of lap number 9. Pit stops will start to come into play here, whether the 1 stop or the 2 stop. So Contagious already pitting. Jonesy, contact with the wall. That invites Zambe to make the lunge up the inside of the final turn. Gets the job done, but Jonesy's going to look for the switchback. And they go side by side on the exit. Down the start finish of 9 turns into 10. Jonesy with the inside line. Decides to tuck back in behind Zambe for turn 1. Not this time, he says. Unless he lunges now. But Zambe shuts the door, covers it off. Con in third. Norm's out in front at the moment. Gnarly's in second. Jonesy lunges, goes way too deep. Zambe holds his line and holds his position. So they approach turn number 4. That was Jonesy's opportunity and he went too far. His tyres might pay for that in a couple of laps' time as well. He's closed the gap already on Zambe. Jonesy driving for Lexus this season. Con with a mistake. It's going to invite Zambe and Jonesy back to the party. End of lap 10. It's Norm from Gnarly from Con, from Zambe from Jonesy from Wiso, as Jonesy tucks right into the slipstream of Zambe at the start of lap 11. Is he going to get the job done this time? No, he gives Zambe a little bump draft and then goes to move up the inside. Zambe dramatically losing pace. He's run out of fuel. Zambe's got his pit strategy wrong and ran out of fuel. He's going to plummet from 5th down the order. So this is Kez and Contagious on lap 19 now. And Kez audio coming around turn 2. Massive mistake, giving Contagious the breathing room. Lap number 21. It's Jonesy from Norm from Con. And Norm hot on the heels of Jonesy with 4 laps to go. Norm, the season 1 champion, closing in on Jonesy. And the strong contenders from season 1. Jonesy with a wide mistake leaves the door open for Norm to come through around turn 3. Norm gets the job done, makes it look easy. Jonesy needs to stay in contact now. Well, that's the race win slipping through his fingers with 4 laps to go. The season 1 champion starting things off in style, it seems. Coming around to the start of the 24th lap, last lap, Jonesy's fallen away massively. Be it fuel or tyres, Jonesy was unable to close the gap to Norm. So as I was just meant, Con having to pit and with a splash and dash with 1 lap to go from 4th. That brings Gnarly through. Potentially Contagious and Wiso will come up the order, as well as Contagious and Wiso battle around the final turn of the penultimate lap. Jonesy, the season leader and the season champion from season 1, is going to take the first race and the maximum damage on the leaderboard. Contagious and Wiso are going to battle around as Con comes out at the wrong time. Hopefully they both get around. Wiso just clears Con. 4th, 5th and 6th all battling together with the final lap dash. Contagious right behind Wiso. We're going to have to flip to the front soon to see Norm come across the line. Contagious dives. Contact there between Wiso and Con. A comedy of errors in the redressal. And now the checkered flag goes to Lisa Norm. Jonesy in 2nd position, falling away. Couldn't either get the tyres or the fuel to last the distance. Gnarly Dude's going to come across the line in 3rd position to round out the podium. And Wiso, Con and Contagious 4th, 5th and 6th. Looks like that's going to be the order after the final lap battle. Kez Audio in 7th after his costly mistake on lap 19. Might have kept him at the front of this pack of drivers. A little bit of penalty serving as they approach the final checkered flag. Slayer Freak rolls across the line in 8th. Rick Green 9th position, DanZambe in 10th and Beto in 11th. So, results after one race. Here you have them. Norm, Jonesy, Gnarly get off to a good start, taking the podium positions. Wiso, Con, Contagious, Kez, Slayer, Rick, and then DanZambe and Beto round out the classification. So we're going to flick over now to race number 3, because race 2 was lost to the Shadow Realm. So there's a cue card coming up, title card for race 2. Here it comes. There it is. Largo Maggiore Grand Prix Circuit, Group number 3. GT3 equivalent cars having to stay with their manufacturer's decisions. There's the field. After qualifying, Norm, Contagious, Rick and Jonesy, the front 4 on the grid. 4 different manufacturers in the front 4. As Norm, the season leader, after winning race 1, is going to take us away for 14 laps at Maggiore, and we're off and racing. Rick in 3rd position off the grid is going to try everything he can to stay in contact as we all approach the pinch point of turn 1 and 2. It's usually quite chaotic. A lot of drivers run wide. Jonesy runs wide, so does Zambe. Everybody tucks back in now, does their best to avoid contact around turns 2, approaching 3 and 4. Rick Green behind Contagious. Norm's got ahead to an early lead. Up and over the hill, approaching the long straight in the middle of sector 1. Norm in the Lamborghini getting a good start. Contagious driving for Ford in the Mustang in 2nd. Jonesy in 4th. Mitch in 5th. Ravana is in 6th. Zambe making the move up the inside. Takes 6th position, but Ravana's on the switchback. They're side by side up the hill now. Con's prowling behind. Moving back up the order. Mitch is in 5th. Ravana's in 6th. Now we're staying with Con and Zambe. Closing the gap on Ravana very early in lap 1 through the high-speed S section. Mitch is in 5th, Jones is in 4th as they come up and over the hill down towards the big banky boy for the first time. What a first lap of a race. Contagious closes the gap massively in the braking zone. Relatively clean and tight. Oh, a little bit of a tap there as I speak, but relatively tidy first lap. With 14 to go, we're going to see again a 1 or 2 stop strategy from the drivers. Norm still well out in front of Contagious. Jonesy and Rick bumper to bumper behind Contagious as they come through the final sector for the first time. Contagious runs wide as they come down the hill into the final turn. Rick will be firmly in the slipstream as they cross the line for the first time. What's going to happen coming into turn 1 and 2? Norm leads them in. Contagious from Rick, from Jonesy. End of lap 1 from Mitch, from Con, from DanZambe, from Ravana in 8th position. It's through turns 3 and 4 now. Up and over the hill. Rick with a slow entry. Jonesy closes the gap. Puts himself in slipstream range potentially to make the dive. Around turn 5. Stays wide. Potentially will get the job done up the hill. Second, third and fourth still within slip range of each other. Norm pulling away well in front of the pack. Mitch in 5th, Con in 6th, Zambi in 7th, Ravana in 8th, Slayers in 9th, and Sinister at the back in 10th. Quite organised now as we run down into the Big Banky Boy for the second time. But Jonesy looking to make the move on Rick. Not this lap, not this time. Perhaps up the hill. Does the Lexus have the power? Rick shuts the door. And the start of lap 3. Jonesy looks to make the move around turn 1. Rick shuts the door. Moving around turn 2, approaching 3 now. Jonesy gaining wide. A little bit of grass on his tyres. That'll affect turn 5, turn 4. Still within touch of Rick though. Shuts the door in front of him. Coming back to Con and Zambi. Con runs wide. Zambi's going to make the lunge into turn 5. Gets the job done, but will Con have the run on the switchback? They almost go. They'll go side by side coming up the hill. There they are, but Dan's the first one to the apex as the rest of the field run through the high-speed chicane sector. Norm running down the hill into the Big Banky Boy. Jonesy holding the heels of Rick. Is it going to happen this lap? This time, he says. This time. Peeks out. Shows his hand. Side by side into the braking zone. Rick's going to have to be forced to take the wider line. Jonesy gets the job done. Running up the hill, and Rick disappears behind him straight away. Now, 1 lap to go. It all basically sorted itself out from there. With the pit strategies, Jonesy in first position with Contagious hot on his heels with 1.5 laps remaining. Norm's in 3rd, Rick's in 4th, Con's in 5th, Zambi's in 6th, Mitch and Ravana in 7th and 8th. Contagious gaining on Jonesy. It's race 1 all over again. Jonesy losing pace at the end of the final stint of the final lap. 1 lap and a bit to go. Contagious picks his moment around the big banking hairpin. Gets the job done. Jonesy tucks in, looks for the switchback. They almost go side by side, but Contagious is ahead by a length. They'll come into the final sector, bumper to bumper with 1 lap remaining. It's the power of the Mustang versus Jonesy's Lexus. Jonesy's going to make the move in the final sector. Demands track position from Contagious. Norm's creeping up behind as these two battle and slow each other down. Suddenly Norm is within a whiff of taking a double max damage 2 races in a row. Would be an amazing start to the season as Contagious and Jonesy go side by side. This is Contagious's moment. Around turn 1, he's going to make the job his own. The first car to the first apex. Norm's made a massive mistake from behind and fallen away. He's lost a huge amount of time. Where is he? We can't even see him. He's in 3rd position now. Contagious and Jonesy come up and over turn 4 on the final lap. And it basically plays out. Contagious, too good for Jonesy. Contagious takes the checkered flag, followed by Jonesy's in second, Norm in third, Rick in fourth, DanZambe in sixth, Con in fifth. My mistake. Those two white Mustangs, Jesus Christ. Mitch in seventh and Ravana in eighth. So after 3 races, the standings are as follows. The cumulative points, Contagious is on 39 after 3. Jonesy's on 43 and Norm is on 45. Top 3 drivers within 6 points with 7 races to go in Season 2. Thank you for joining us for Race 1 and 3. Stay tuned very shortly for races Blur and Blur from Season 2. We'll see you next time. Thanks, guys. Ciao. Races number 4 and number 6 from Season 2. We're at Dragon Trail Seaside. There you see the standings from qualifying. Norm, 3rd pole in 3 races that we've shown. Gnarly in 2nd, Con in 3rd, Kez in 4th, Contagious in 5th, Slayer in 6th, Zambi in 7th, and Jonesy in 8th as we wait for the lights for 8 laps around Dragon Trail Seaside in Group 4 cars. And they're off and racing. The Mustangs all get an incredible start. Lots of Mustangs in this field. Lots of drivers driving for Ford. As Gnarly is the first driver to the first apex. Kez in 2nd. Norm's dropped down to 3rd already. Contagious squeezes through as they're 3 wide into turn number 1, into the pinch point of the chicane coming up the hill. Look at that beautiful shot as they all come up and over. And they sort themselves out for the most part, 2 by 2, filing into a single file. As Gnarly, Kez and Norm lead us around for the first time, followed by Contagious, Slayer and Zambi. Contagious, slow entry into the final turn of Sector 1. Slayer and Contagious are side by side as they come up and over the hill into the fast chicanes now. Contagious has the inside line. Slayer almost shuts the door, but not quite. Con and Zambi are side by side, and Zambi takes position as they run up and over the hill again down towards the hairpin. Prime lunging territory. Is Norm going to make the move now on Kez? Tries the inside line. Kez shuts the door. Rest of the pack comes around. Zambi with a slow exit as we approach the chicane of death for the first time. Hold your breath. Gnarly, Kez, Norm get through clean. Contagious, Slayer. The rest of the pack all files through. A little bit of contact on the final wall, but clean through the most part for the first lap. Gnarly and Kez. Kez looks for the inside line, but Gnarly shuts the door. There's 3 different manufacturers in the front 3 after 1 lap. Ford, Aston Martin, no, Ford, Mercedes. I don't know, which one is it? Fail. Contagious and Slayer side by side into turn 1. Slayer's got track position. Norm's going to make the move on Kez side by side up through the chicanes. Look at that. Fantastic driving from Kez and Norm. Kez and the Mercedes. Contagious and Slayer both in Mustangs, followed by Con and Zambi, all driving for Ford. 2 by 2 around the track. Gnarly's away. Norm and Kez battling it out. Contagious and Slayer. Con and Zambi. Approaching 1.5 laps down of 8 in this season race. The one-stop strategy being the obvious choice as the front 3 lead us down into the hairpin. Norm, the Season 1 champion and current sprint champion at the time this was raced. Gnarly, the endurance champion at the time this was raced as well, after his endurance victory. As they come through the chicane of death, Norm is claimed by the jaws of the chicane of death. How much time is that going to cost him as everybody else runs through now? A little bit messier this time. Not quite as tidy. Rick's claimed as well. 2 victims on the second lap to the chicane of death. It's Contagious is closing the gap on Kez. Con looks up the inside line of Slayer. Both the Mustangs battle it out around the final turn of lap 2. Con tucks into the slipstream. Norm back down to 6th position after his massive mistake. Zambe's in 7th, Jonesy is in 8th. Con's going to challenge Slayer around turn 2 and 3. But Slayer takes track position. Approaching the end of Sector 1. Contagious just keeping Kez within arm's length. Con's going to look the lunge. Thinks again. Up and over the hill now. Approaching the high-speed sector. Norm's catching. Norm is catching Con and Slayer in the Lamborghini. Here we have a pinch point now. Slayer, Con and Norm all running down into the hairpin. Con's going to make the move. Claims the inside line, forces Slayer wide. Norm with a great exit. Almost goes side by side with Slayer into the chicanes. Backs off just that little bit into the chicane of death. Contact with a wall from Slayer. Norm with a great run through the chicane. Passes Slayer with ease down the final straight. But Con got away as a result of Norm and Slayer battling. So we approach the end of lap 3 now. It's still Gnarly, Kez, Contagious out in the lead. Zambe and Jonesy battling for 7th and 8th at the moment. Jonesy in his signature Lexus. Norm and Slayer. Slayer needs to stay with Norm now. At least stay within that slip as we're approaching the pit window. Doesn't look like anyone went for the undercut at the end of lap 3. It's Con's caught Contagious now. And Kez well out in front. Oh, Norm, big mistake. Forces Slayer to take evasive action. Contagious has lost a little bit of pace in the 2 battle pack. The 2-2s have turned into a battle pack of 4. Norm's looking for a way around Slayer. Con's looking around away for a way around Contagious. Contagious makes a mistake. Goes off into the gravel. He's not going to settle for that. As Norm's going to get the job done on Slayer, it looks like here. Slayer takes the outside line, disappears. Norm slots into 5th. Goes off the track, approaching the chicane section. Slayer and Norm side by side again. Con and Contagious get away. Contagious with a faster line through the chicane of death. Now surely approaching the pit window now. As some of the pit crew start to scramble. Contagious up the inside of Con. Con looks for the switchback as they go side by side. And they both get a pit. Contagious is, Con's not. So Contagious kicks off the pit cycle. This is Contagious coming out of the pits with Norm and Slayer together. Norm and Contagious into turn 2. Contagious on the inside line. Slayer's here as well. All 3 of them come out cleanly in single file. Gnarly, Kez, Con and Rick still have to serve a pit stop. We're on lap 5 of 8. So this are the potential front 3 drivers. Norm bumper to bumper with Contagious. Side by side up and over the hill. Contagious again with the inside line. Norm's going to have to go around the outside. And he does. What a move around the outside of that turn. Fantastic driving. Contagious, is he going to let that slide? Up and over the hill, down into the hairpin. Prime lunging territory. It's stays tucked in as they approach the chicane on lap number 5. Gnarly and Kez in the pits. Gnarly came in at 1% fuel. Norm, Contagious, Slayer into the chicanes. All three come out cleanly. And so with 1 lap to go, after the pit cycle, it shuffles itself out. Kez, Gnarly and Con all got out in front of Slayer and Contagious and Norm. Kez well out in the lead, and Gnarly with a lot of fresh air as well. Harris Clan, Lochtarak and DanZambe with a lap to go, still battling it out. Mitch prowling in the background. Potentially a 2 or 3 point difference on the leaderboard on offer there. We're coming around at the end of the final lap. Kez Audio's taking the checkered flag. Gnarly Dude in second. Con in third, defends Gnarly Dude to the line. Contagious in 5th. Jonesy comes across the line in 6th position. Here he comes. Slayer in 7th. Slayer in 8th. Rick in 7th. Zambi in 9th and Harris Clan in 10th. So we're going to wait for all these cars to roll over the line. And then we're going to show you the cumulative scores after 4 of 10 races from Season 2. Who to watch with 6 to go. And here they are. So after taking 17 points in the race win, Kez Audio goes on 26 points. Gnarly Dude's on 45. Con's on 35. Norm leading, I believe, on 57. Contagious on 50 and Jonesy on 53. The top 3 still within 7 points of each other. 6 races to go. Everything can change though. So we're going to flip over to the next race now. Q title card coming up right now. It's race number 6. We're at Monza. We're in Group 3, GT3 equivalent cars. Everybody has to stick to their manufacturer. So a lot of Ford Mustangs in the field here today at Monza. 13 cars in the grid. Contagious, the fastest in qualifying. Gnarly, Con, Rick, Zambi, Wings, Jonesy and Wiso round out the top 8 of 13 for 14 laps of Monza. And we're off and racing. The 2 Mustangs at the front. Powerful start. Gnarly tucks in behind Contagious as they approach the dreaded first corner of Monza. Let's just hold our breaths and watch this unfold. Gnarly wide. Contagious just bites the bullet after a wide exit and cuts the corner and takes the penalty. All kinds of tippy-tap at the back of the pack. Zambi's a big loser as he drops down to 12th. Contagious, Wings and Rick, the first 3 cars to Grande, followed by Gnarly, Wiso, Jonesy, Con and Slayer. Into the second shed of chicanes now. Rick closes the gap, very wide. Contact there potentially, I'm not sure what happened there. Gnarly and Rick lead the rest of the pack through. 2 and 3 wide. Coming into Lesmo. That's not going to work out very well. Con on the inside line from Wiso. Jonesy takes position from Gnarly as they approach the long uphill straight into Ascari for the first time. Gnarly and Jonesy side by side. Jonesy the season leader after 5 races. Contagious, Wings and Rick the front 3. The rest of the pack come through all tightly together. Look at this, bumper to bumper, 4th to 8th. Jonesy's still tucked in behind Gnarly. Con and Kiwi falling back. The Great Wall of Con defending against the quads of steel of Kiwi, with Slayer hovering in the background. What a first lap around Monza. So we're going to see a 1 or 2 stop strategy from the drivers. That's the question as well. Contagious is way out in front already. Monza, one of his special tracks. Wings doing well. to stay in second. Rick in third. Gnarly and Jonesy come through. Turn 1 and 2. 1 and 2 for the second time. Kiwi, Slayer, Con. Kiwi wide, ZAMBE wide. Why so wide? They've all got gravels on their tyres. Harris gets his exit wrong as well. Big shuffle up in the middle of the pack at the start of lap 2. Contagious approaches the second chicanes. Followed by Wings, Rick and Gnarly. Jonesy, the season leader, in 5th. Leads through Con, Slayer, Kiwi. ZAMBE's in 9th. Coming through Lesmo 1 and 2. ZAMBE hot on the heels of Kiwi. Slayer and Kiwi run a little bit wide on the exit of Lesmo 1. On the approach to Ascari now. Gnarly still hot on the heels of Rick. In the slipstream, approaching Grande. At the end of lap 2. Gnarly in position to make the lunge. Is this his moment? Peeks out. Claims position. Forces Rick to go wide around the Parabolica. As they're going to exit the Parabolica side by side into the start-finish straight. There's going to be a drag race all the way down to turn number 1. Rick's winning at the moment. Gnarly thinks about tucking back into the slipstream. Just alongside, into braking zone. Gnarly breaks up the inside. Fantastic overtake. Slayer Freak closing the gap on Con. As they all come through at the start of lap 3. Contagious miles in front in the Mustang. The gap between Gnarly and Wings getting ever smaller now. Con and Slayer through the second chicane, followed by Kiwi, a little bit of gravel on his outside tyres. ZAMBE's chasing Kiwi. Slayer bumper to bumper with Con. Jonesy, the season leader, in 5th at the moment. As they approach Ascari at the end of lap 3. Contagious, Wings, Gnarly and Rick. So we're going to see a 7-7 on strategy, or something different from the drivers, perhaps 2 5s and a 4. So they approach the Parabolica at the end of lap 3. Front 5 quite spread out, but Gnarly gaining on Wings now in the slipstream at the start of lap 4. This is Gnarly's time to make the move from the outside line into turns 1 and 2. Comes around the front, gets the job done from the outside line on Wings, up into second position. Fantastic driving. Wings is going to be in the slipstream now, though. As now lap number 5, Contagious leads us through, followed by Gnarly, who's put a massive amount of space between himself and Wings. Jonesy and Rick Reen come through side by side. Jonesy makes the lunge, gets the job done. Con in 6th position, ZAMBE moving up into 7th, Kez Audio in 8th, Slayer in 9th. Waito in 10th, Kiwi in 11th. Just can't get turn 2 correct. Very difficult. Complex of corners, turns 1 and 2. That's lap number 7 now. Rick Reen chasing Jonesy in the slipstream, approaching Parabolica. At the end of lap 7, halfway marker in the race. Claims track position, forces Jonesy to go wide around the Parabolica. So many long words. ZAMBE, Con and Kez come around 6th, 7th and 8th. This is the pit cycle now. Jonesy, ZAMBE and Kez come in at the end of 7, so does Slayer, so does Wiso. Kiwi stays out after 7 laps and comes up into 6th position. So lap number 10. Contagious in the lead. This is after the pit cycle has served itself. Contagious, Gnarly, Jonesy, the front 3 with 5 laps to go. Followed by Kez, Rick Reen, Con, Wings, and DanZambe. Rick right behind Kez, Con and Wings almost side by side into turn 1 with 5 to go. Zambe and Slayer, a little bit of daylight between them. And Wiso in 10th and Kiwi and in 11th. Rick Reen still pushing to catch Kez as they approach the Lesmos. Jonesy leads them through the chicanes. Kez, big wide mistake there. Rick Reen the big winner. Con's going to get him as well. Con moves up into 5th position. Wings behind Kez now. Kez trying to stay in touch with Con after that mistake. Approaching Ascari on lap number 11. Wings right in the slipstream of Kez. Looking to make a move. Now this is turn 1. Lap 12. Zambe. A little bit wide, but Wings makes the mistake. And Zambe benefits. After Wings got too aggressive trying to get around Kez. This is Zambe approaching the parabolica at the end of lap 12. Goes side by side with Kez Audio and claims the track around the parabolica. Kez with the inside line on the switchback though. They're going to come out side by side. Zambe runs very wide into the paint. 2 laps to go at Monza. It's Contagious from Gnarly from Jonesy. Contagious is a week out in front. Zambe looks to make the move. With 2 to go into the turn 1, outbreaks Kez. Takes the very sharp line into the chicane. Kez comes straight through Zambe with a wide line on the exit of turn 2. Kiwi makes a mistake and that invites Wiso around him. Approaching Grande. Wings in 9th, Slayers in 8th. Zambe still trying to get around Kez. Kez shuts the door into the second set of chicanes. Con's in 5th position. Still chasing Rick with a lap and a half to go. And Rick right behind Jonesy. Almost within lunging range. Are we seeing what we've seen almost every race now, and Jonesy losing pace at the end, be it on tyres or fuel? We might be seeing it again here with 1 lap to go at Monza. Contagious just crossing the final lap line now to start it. But Rick's going to lunge on Jonesy into the parabolica. Jonesy's going to try the switchback. Not enough room for Jonesy to come back inside as Rick leads the season leader across the start-finish with 1 lap to go. Con's in 5th, Kez is in 6th, Slayer's in 8th. But Jonesy chasing Rick is the battle we're going to follow now. Not enough room for Jonesy to lunge up the inside of turn 1. Rick's exit of turn 2 is horrendous. Jonesy comes through and now has track position coming around Curva Grande. Con's caught up to the both of them. And 3rd position is anybody's. Rick looks to lunge. Jonesy shuts the door into the second chicane. Less than a lap to go. welcome back to Season 2. This is race number 7 and 8. The top 3 drivers, all within 1 point of each other. That's Contagious, Gnarly and Jonesy. They are the front 3 on the grid today after qualifying. Contagious and Gnarly in the Mustangs, Contagious on pole position, Jonesy in the Lexus. Gnarly 1 point behind Contagious and Jonesy with 4 races to go. 16 laps around Nürburgring Grand Prix. We're off and racing. Contagious and Gnarly lead us down the hill. DanZambe in the Mustang tucks in behind Jonesy. They go 2 and 3 wide into the pinch point. Ping Pong and Jonesy and Contagious are the big losers as they come around. DanZambe takes first position. Jonesy speeds up into second. Gnarly backs off because he thinks he was involved in something. I'll tell you what, given this day and age, Jonesy makes a move around DanZambe through the first sector. Nowadays, that would definitely be red flagged, but red flags weren't a thing in Season 2. So DanZambe and Jonesy get away to an early fortunate start. Mitch and Gnarly side by side into the start of Sector 2. As Gnarly takes position from Mitch, Contagious in 7th, 1st to 7th. In one sector. He's not going to be happy as he looks to make the move now around Mitch around the bottom hairpin. Lunges right up the inside. Mitch leaves in the room he needs. Norm defending from Gnarly. Contagious has already caught the 2 of them. Jonesy and DanZambe out in front, followed by Rick Reed in 3rd as they come up the hill now into the 2. 90-degree-ish turns. Gnarly looks to make the lunge on Norm. Contact there. Norm runs wide. 3 wide into the next turn. Norm loses out. Gnarly probably carries a penalty up the hill now. Contagious up into 5th. 1st to 7th to 5th in 1 lap. Gnarly in 4th position after qualifying 2nd. Jonesy, the big winner, out in the lead at the moment, followed by DanZambe, followed by Rick at the end of 1 lap. We're going to see a 1 or 2 stop strategy from everybody, we think, here in Germany today. And a beautiful day it is, 26 degrees, 31 on track with the sun beating down. As Gnarly makes the lunge up the inside of Rick and Contagious follows him. 2 for 1. Rick moves backwards as Gnarly and Contagious both come through. Around the hairpin of turn 1. Contagious up the inside of Gnarly now through sector 1. Demands track position. And gets the job done. Norm tucked in behind Rick. And Contagious back up into 3rd position. From 1st to 7th to 3rd. Charging to close the gap on Jonesy and DanZambe. After the, whatever you want to call the start. I left my thesaurus at home today. As Rick, Norm and Con come around the bottom hairpin, charging up the hill. Norm driving for Lamborghini this season. Con in the Ford Mustang flies up the inside of the fast chicane. Gnarly staying within touch of Contagious, as Contagious is closing the gap on DanZambe and Jonesy. This is only lap 2 of 16 laps. Again, we show you about 10 minutes worth of the race as the server gets a bit janky. Contagious leads Gnarly through the end of the final sector on lap number 2, and Jonesy and DanZambe still out in the lead. Jonesy in the Lexus, DanZambe, Contagious and Gnarly all driving for Ford. As we take a breather now as the pack's mostly spread out. I'm sure we'll flick back through soon and find a battle. As Contagious makes a mistake around turn 1, that invites Gnarly to the party. This is turn 3. DanZambe has been caught by Contagious on lap 3. And where's he going to go around? Contagious looks to lunge. ZamBe has to leave him room. Contagious gets the job done. Through the second set of turns. Gnarly inside line now up the hill. ZamBe goes from second to fourth. Gnarly and Contagious moving up the field like a storm. Hot on the heels of Jonesy now out in the lead. So the front three drivers in the championship, first, second and third as it stands at the end of 3 laps. And this is the end of the 13th lap, running into 14. My apologies, the start of the 13th lap. Jonesy still way out in the lead after the pit cycle. The one-stop strategy paying off for him. Con as well with the one-stop in second. Gnarly's in third. ZamBe's in fourth. Contagious in fifth. Rick, Norm and Mitch rounding out the top 8. Contagious closing in on ZamBe. I think ZamBe ran the one stop as well, so he'll be slower now than Contagious after performing a 2-stop. Fresher tyres, more fuel to burn as they enter sector 2. Contagious goes side by side with ZamBe. ZamBe serves a bit of penalty and lets him by. So Contagious up into 4th position with 4 laps to go. Jonesy well out in the lead with 1 lap to go. Con closing the gap on Jonesy. Are we seeing it again? Are we seeing Jonesy losing pace on the final lap? Con's closed the gap. Gnarly and Contagious in 3rd and 4th. As they come through the technical section of Sector 1 for the final time. Con is gaining. Con is gaining rapidly. Jonesy either has no more tyres, or no more fuel, or no more concentration. As it's now bumper to bumper on the final lap. Con's going to look to make the move on the bottom chicane, on the bottom hairpin. Thinks again, no, Jonesy doesn't shut the door, leaves him space. Jonesy has to run wide. And Con, with the power of the Mustang, charges uphill in 1st position with less than a lap to go. Has played his strategy fantastically with the one stop. Maintains his pace on the final lap. Jonesy falls away. You can see there now already how far in front Con has pulled off. Approaching the final chicane for the final time. A masterclass of strategy. He's not the fastest driver in the field, but he was the smartest today and the most consistent. Con 008 takes the checkered flag and the max damage for race number 7. Flashing his lights as he comes across the checkered flag. Jonesy in 2nd, Gnarly in 3rd. Contagious in 4th after his horrendous start. One would wonder what would have happened if that was all different. ZamBe comes across the line in 5th, serves some penalties before he comes over. Rick Green in 6th, Mitch in 7th. And Norm's going to come across in 8th. So, the cumulative points after 7 races. Con, 78 points. Jonesy is on 93 now. Gnarly on 90 and Contagious on 92. 1 point extends to 3. The top 3 drivers, Jonesy, Gnarly and Contagious, separated by 3 points with 3 races to go. Cue title card for race number 8. That's right, it's time to rev the engines at the Muppet Show tonight as these Muppets go around Mount Panorama. We're at home in Group 3 cars, GT300 equivalent. And that is the grid from qualifying. Con, Contagious, Jonesy, Norm, the top 4. Now, Norm, the defending champion, well behind. Contagious, Gnarly, and Jonesy within 3 points of each other. So Contagious and Jonesy, we're all off and racing for 13 laps at the mountain. Contagious and Con in the Mustangs get a good start as we all hit turn 1 for the first time. Running up mountain straight, 2 by 2. They come around. This is where the power of the car selection will come into play, flying up mountain straight. And it's Contagious, Con, and Norm, the front 3. The first 3 cars that make it to the second apex. Followed by Jonesy, Kiwi, Zambe, Slayer, and Rick, the top 8 of 10 drivers. Jonesy, the season leader, will be doing everything he can to catch Contagious. His main rival today is Gnarly. Is MIA. That's going to cost him big time. Though every driver has a chance to drop 1 or 2 scores. If they race every race of the season, it is best 8 scores out of 10. So you can miss 2 races and still take the championship. It's Contagious is the first car to take us through the S's and down through the Dipper, followed by Con, Norm, and all the rest of them. Ravana very slow, making a mistake through the S's. Coming down Forest Elbow for the first time and down onto Conrod Straight. Contagious very fast around here. Definitely would see Monza and Bathurst are 2 of his stronger circuits. Con, Norm, and Jonesy round out the top 4. Jonesy hot on the heels of Norm. Norm is very fast. He's the... Unless everything goes awry, he will be the outgoing season champion, as he hasn't raced enough races this season, even with the drop of score system in play. But who knows? Kiwi gets a... No, that was Zambe with a poor run at the final turn. Jonesy's still right behind Norm at the start of lap 2. Contagious is gone. Con's doing everything he can to stay in touch. Flying up mountain straight for the second time. Jonesy still well within touch of the season 1 champion. Fighting for his life. 3 races to go. Jonesy has 1 or 2 points on Contagious. Contact with the wall there. Very poor line. Had to take evasive action from Norm. That didn't help. And Rick goes side by side and comes through him as well. Up and over the mountain. Jonesy's lost a position and an overtaking opportunity on Norm. So Jonesy with a lot of work to do now from 5th place in the Lexus, coming up and over Skyline now. It's Jonesy, Con, Contagious, your front. Contagious, Con, Norm, your front 3. Oh, massive mistake. Who's that? That's Norm. And he's forced to pull over in a horrendous section of track. Makes a mistake coming through the S's. The Slayer shuts the door on Mitch. Savage. Down Conrod Straight for the second time. Zambe in 6th position. Rick in 5th. Chasing Jonesy in 6th. Kiwi's up into 3rd now. Con in 2nd. And Contagious well out in front. Dare I say, king of the mountain to this point. So Jonesy, Rick, and Zambe all come across the start-finish line together at the end of lap 2. This could be close as they fly around turn 1. Is turn 1 Murray's or Hell's? Which way around is it? Who knows? I think it's Hell's corner, the first one. But regardless, it all kind of shuffled out from there, and everybody, no major drama. really, with 1 lap to go, this is how it stands. Contagious still well out in the lead. Con still in second. Jonesy in third. Rick in fourth. DanZambe in fifth. Kiwi in sixth. Mitch in seventh. And Slayer in eighth. So the first 3 laps, the most dramatic laps of the race. And the final lap now, Contagious, as it stands, will finish 2 positions above Jonesy, putting Contagious in prime position with 2 races to go. As we're on board with Kiwi coming up Mountain Straight, just outside of slipstream range of Zambe. Kiwi closing the gap. Rick Green coming across the top of the mountain in 4th position. Jonesy in 3rd. A lot of space between all the drivers as a result of their pit strategies and performance and pace. Jonesy a little bit messy through the S's there in the dipper. Con flying down Conrod. Well behind Contagious, who has bossed proceedings here today at the city of Bathurst. Approaching the final turn for the final time. Contagious is going to take mass damage and become the season leader with 2 races to go. Fantastic performance and consistent driving from him. Con in 2nd position. Another podium for him this season. Jonesy's disappeared down the order. What's happened to Jonesy? Rick's coming down the hill in 3rd now. Jonesy's back in 7th. We'll have to see what happened to him. So Rick takes a podium. He'll be cheering with that. Zambe steals 4th as well. Serving on the line. Kiwi in 5th. Mitch in 6th. Jonesy, he's run out of fuel. Again, we've seen final lap loss of pace. And this time it was dramatic. He ran out of fuel this time. So, with 2 races to go, that's dramatic for the standings between Contagious and Jonesy. Contagious is now on 109, and Jonesy's on 102. 2 races to go, 7 points the difference. Hold on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you for race 9 and 10. So yes, here we are, the final 2 races of season 2. We are at Kyoto Driving Park, Yamigawa reverse. Jonesy and Contagious, 7 points apart. Contagious 2nd on the grid, Jonesy 7th on the grid. Norm, the outgoing season champion, in pole. Norm, Contagious, GT and Con the front 4, and we're off and racing for 9 laps in Japan as they all run down into turn 1 now. 2, 3, 4 wide all the way down the field. Look at all those Mustangs as Norm goes around the outside of Contagious, but Contagious is the first quarter of the apex. Con and Norm side by side. GT comes out in 4th. GT's debut race in the seasons as Contagious, Norm, Con lead everybody around now. Norm loses his back end a little bit as they approach the 2nd hairpin of the circuit. Con's going to make the lunge on Norm. Savagely claims position. Norm with a cutback. Norm gets the job done on the cutback. Reclaims his 2nd position as the rest of the field filter through now and file into single file. Con and Norm side by side up and over the hill. Crucial to get this braking point right into this technical chicane. Con and Norm contact. Massive. Norm redresses. Con redresses Norm. GT the big winner. Rick comes through the middle like Moses as well. Gnarly and Slayer join the party as they come around the long sweeping right-hander for the first time. This is fantastic racing as Gnarly forces Norm to take the outside line and takes the position from him. Contagious GT and Rick, the front three. Contagious well out in front, followed by GT. And everybody else, Gnarly and Norm, side by side. Norm, wide line into the final chicane. Norm goes from 5th to 3rd around the outside of Rick into the final turn. Shuts the door in front of him. And the power of the Lamborghini will pull him down the track. Just within slipstream of GT. What a first lap with 2 races to go. So first and second on the championship, 7 points apart. Anything can still happen, especially if Contagious or Jonesy run afoul this race. There are still outsiders that can claim the title as they come through the technical section of Sector 1 for the first time. Jonesy and Kiwi were side by side throughout that. Surprised neither of them went outside the white lines. Kiwi lunges on Jonesy. The quads of steel demands track position. A little bit untidy, but it gets the job done. Ravana's in 10th. Kiwi defending Jonesy as they run down the hill. You'd be mad to try and overtake here. Double contact on the back of each car, but everybody gets through relatively cleanly. Contagious GT and Norm still the front three. Gnarly looks for the inside line on Con. Con's going to try and shut the door and does. Slayer's going to have a quick run out of that corner and join the party. Kiwi, Jonesy, Ravana into the high-speed section. Great shot as they fly through. Final turn, a very long right-hander. Jonesy runs very wide. Zambe in the background. Ravana up into 9th. A little bit of a tap on Jonesy. Jonesy runs wide onto the grass. Rick's in 4th. Still Contagious GT Norm, your front three now. Followed by Rick, Con, Gnarly, Slayer, and Kiwi. Front three spreading out. But GT closing the gap now. Ooh. But much smoother around that turn. The Contagious closes the gap and he's bumper to bumper now to come up and over the hill. Not a great place for an overtake, but GT's still there. He has a peak. And GT much smoother through the chicane. And they go side by side up and over the hill now. GT on debut has moved his way through the pack. Contagious shuts the door around the long right-hander. For the 3rd time of asking, Norm. He's caught up on account of this battle that's playing out before him. They're all forced to tuck into single file. Approaching the final turn, GT's going to claim, he's going to demand a position here. Contagious goes very wide, and GT comes straight through, thank you very much. And Norm is still prowling in 3rd. So it's GT from Contagious from Norm after 3 laps of 9. And we're going to see a one-stop strategy from everybody. Whether it's an undercut or an overcut, who knows? Yet to be seen. Front three still very close together, bumper to bumper around turn 2. Norm looks for his opportunity. Contagious forces him to go even finer. Norm lunges up the inside. Contagious shuts the door. Almost. Norm still on the attack. GT's getting away now as Contagious is forced to deal with the Season 1 champion. Jonesy currently outside of the top 8. So if we were to look at a live scoreboard, Contagious sitting well atop the table. So we have the prospective Season 2 champion defending against the Season 1 champion. To come through the high-speed S's of the final sector on lap number 4. We're approaching the pit window now. We're going to see drivers pitting on 4, 5, and 6. Contagious very wide around the final turn again. And Norm right in that slipstream. Looks for the cutback. GT makes a mistake. Norm serves his pit stop now. So does Con. Contagious and Rick stay out. So does Gnarly. And Slayer and Kiwi beside all to stay out as well. Harris Clan comes in. So the top 8 yet to pit at least. It's Kiwi. Hot on the heels of Slayer. Gnarly running in 4th. Potentially will have what it takes if he can race every race and get 8 points on the board. GT a little bit slow around that corner, so we slip to the end of lap 5. Contagious, Rick and GT all come in. So does Gnarly. So does everybody else for that matter. Here we go. 7 cars, 8 cars. Kiwi's running on mediums. I don't know what's going on there. 9 cars. 9 cars in the pits. Con and Norm. GT gets out in front of them. So Con and Norm side by side into turn 1. Norm demands the inside line. A little bit of a contact there. GT well out in front, so GT's played the overcut to perfection. Perhaps Con and Norm battling around lap 5. Allowed that to happen. And GT well out in lead. That's the Great Wall of Con. Defends against the Season 1 champion Norm. And current Sprint Series champion when this was raced. Up and over the hill into this heavy braking technical section. Con comes out first. Norm loses his back end. Up and over the hill now. Three and a half laps to go. GT from Con from Norm. And me from Kiwi, from Rick, from Contagious, from Gnarly, from Ravana. Contagious plummeted down the order somehow in that pit cycle. Had to have been a mistake in there somewhere. Norm now around the final turn in the Lamborghini of lap 6. It's going to look to get the run on Con over down the start-finish straight. Has the better exit, and he's right in the slipstream. And Norm peeks out now. Here he comes. Con will defend heavily. No, he doesn't. He serves a penalty and lets Norm around the outside. Kiwi in 4th. Rick Green closing the gap on Kiwi. Norm's going to be chasing GT down now with 3 laps to go. Rick's going to look up the inside of Kiwi here. No, he thinks again. Kiwi shuts the door. Contagious is sick. He's catching, gaining. Just over 2.5 laps remaining. GT on his debut, bossing proceedings. Well out in lead. Followed by Season 1 champion Norm. The Great Wall of Con in 3rd. Quads of Steel Kiwi in 4th. Contagious still looking for a way around Rick. Rick, the inaugural champion of the Sprint Series. And Contagious, the current season leader of Season 2. Everybody is somebody in the top 6 as we run now in 2 laps to go. Contagious still desperately looking away for a way around Rick. It's going to take the outside line around the final turn with 2 laps remaining. Rick's still within a shot of Kiwi. Contagious runs a little bit wide. And they're all in the slip train. Big points on offer. As Rick goes up the inside of Kiwi. Absolutely outbreaks himself. Absolutely. Takes his chances out. He drops down to 6th. Gnarly's going to close the gap on him as well. So with a lap and a half to go, Contagious chasing Kiwi for 4th position. 1st, 2nd and 3rd, GT, Norm and Con well out in the lead. Contagious chasing Kiwi now. Every point matters. As we are into the realms of where drivers start to drop scores. It's the best 8 scores of 10. So every point that you can scrounge out of every race potentially replaces a lower score. Zambe very poor, so is Slayer through there. Jonesy the big winner. He needs every point he can get climbing up the ladder. Contagious is in 5th. Still chasing Kiwi. Just over a lap to go. GT leads us across the line. Norm in 2nd. Con in 3rd. Kiwi in 4th, trying to keep Contagious at bay. Rick Green's caught Contagious. He's in the slipstream now as well. Final lap. GT and Norm comfortable. Kiwi can see Con. And Contagious and Rick within striking distance of Kiwi. How is this going to affect the standings going into the final race? Big mistake there. Down the back of the pack as 8th through 11th all battled together. Gnarly was the big loser then. Slayer in 10th chasing Ravana. Zambe in a bit of space in 7th. Jonesy in 8th. Scrounging up those points at the end of the race. He's climbed up the ladder over the final stint. With just over a sector to go, it's GT from Norm, from Con, from Kiwi, from Contagious, and Rick Green closing the gap on Contagious as they enter the final sector. Barring any mistakes, this is how it's going to finish. But Rick's going to be in lunging distance on the final turn. GT takes the checkered flag. There he is, max damage for GT on debut in the season. Followed by Norm in 2nd, the Season 1 champion. Con and Kiwi come across in 3rd and 4th. There's a swap of positions there due to penalties. Contagious in 5th, Rick Green in 6th. Jonesy manages to finish in 7th after all of this. Look at this, battling with Slayer all the way around. Barring any penalties, that's a fantastic final stint from Jonesy, coming from at least 11th to 7th right at the end. So 1 race to go. These are the standings. Bearing in mind an asterisk means a driver has dropped one of their scores already. Con 105, Contagious 110, Jonesy 102. Your top 3, where did Con come from? My lord. 8 points between the top 3 going into the final race. Cue the title card. Let's get ready to rumble. And now, the finale. Race number 10, Group 4, Suzuka. Jonesy, Contagious and Con all within 8 points of each other. The top 8 of 10 scores count. GT, Norm and Contagious, your front 3 off the grid. Jonesy outside of the top 8. Con's in 5th, Contagious in 3rd. We're off and racing at Suzuka for 7 laps. So the final race, it's a sprint with a single stop. And GT is the first car to the apex. Contagious has done well to get 2nd out of the grid. Norm and Con come around in 3rd and 4th. The rest of the grid do their best to keep it clean and tidy, 2 by 2 around turn 1 for the first time. Approaching the big wide S's of the first sector. And it's GT from Contagious from Norm. Contagious racing for his life, for his championship. Coming in as season leader. 5 points ahead of Con and 8 points ahead of Jonesy. GT, his 2nd race on debut in the season, gets us out to an early lead. Norm, the outgoing season champion, in 3rd position. It's Contagious. Gets the job done, approaching the hairpin on GT. Great move there. Con's in 4th. So he's within touch, within reach of Contagious. And needs to be, to carry any hope of taking the championship. Jonesy's outside the top 8. He's got a lot of work to do after leading the season a couple of races ago. He can win today, mathematically. Rick and Harris, both Harris on the rejoin, contact with Zambe, just rejoins like a madman. So the middle pack shuffled up dramatically after that, and Jonesy all of a sudden up into 7th. Speak of the devil. So Jonesy's revival begins. Contagious still in front of GT. Norm in 3rd, Con's in 4th. Slayer's in 5th, Kiwi's in 6th, Jonesy's in 7th, and DanZambe is in 8th position. At the end of lap 1 at Suzuka. Things looking very good for Contagious at the moment to take the season championship. But it could go down to the wire. Rick Harris and Ravana approaching turn 1 together. Clicking back forward through the pack. Slayers closed the gap on Con. Con chasing Norm, still within slipstream distance. But GT and Contagious putting a big gap on the rest of the field, fighting a battle of their own. As they come under the bridge for the 2nd time of asking. GT right behind Contagious, almost bumper to bumper as they come into the hairpin. And Norm and Con follow them through. Slayer's lost ground on Con. Norm still charging hard to try and close the gap. Into Spoon. GT still right behind Contagious. Powering up the hill now. So lap 2 of 7. There needs to be a pit stop somewhere. Most likely at the end of 3 or 4, unless we see a major over or undercut from one of these drivers. GT close enough to make a move, but doesn't. Into the final chicane of lap 2. Just waiting for Contagious to make a mistake. Racing for bragging rights in his 2nd race of the season. Keep your eyes on him for season 3. He'll be a major contender. We come around Spoon on lap number 4. And the front 4 closer together now. And GT still on the slipstream of Contagious. Con has a peek around Norm and thinks again. Approaching the pit cycle. Norm runs wide. Con's going to have an invitation to the party there. And the front four come through at the end of lap 4. And Contagious and Norm both serve their pit stops. Now, end of lap 5, we flip forward. GT and Con come in as well. So the overcut, let's see how it plays out. Norm jumps Contagious in the undercut as they approach the start finish for a 2-lap sprint to the line. Con's involved, so the championship could go down to the wire. Where are GT and Con going to come out? They're coming out of the pit lanes now. GT is the first car to the apex comfortably. The second car through turn 1 is Norm, and then Contagious, followed by Con. So 2 laps to go. Unless Con can pull off some magic, Contagious is in prime position to take the championship away from Lisa Norm. And GT's second race on debut, taking bragging rights. So the final lap, GT taking the checkered flag. The outgoing champion, Lisa Norm, congratulations to him in second. But Contagious, the big cheese, takes the 3rd position and the season championship as Con and Slayer comes across the line in 4th and 5th. DanZambe in 7th, Ravana in 8th. What a season. A manufacturer's season where the drivers had to drive the same Group 3 and 4 cars for the same manufacturer all season. That's the results from race 10. And then we'll flick across now to the cumulative results for the season, the final standings, and crown our Season 2 champion, which is, drum roll, no spoilers, no surprises, Contagious 187 with 112 from 8 races with 2 scores dropped. Con 008 on 106, Jonesy on 102, Lisa Norm, the outgoing champion, on 101, Gnarly Dude on 97, Rick Reen on 88, DanZambe on 75, Slayer Freak with 59, Kez Audio popping in with 4 races on 45 points, Mitch on 41, Ravana on 41, Kiwi Y2Q on 40, GT maximum points from 2 races on 34. Keep an eye on him next season. Harris Clan 28 and Troy 4 from 1 appearance. Thank you everybody who was involved in this season. We'll see you soon.